Good morning and welcome along to the next live stream. It is our weekly stadium review. Not weekly stadium review, what a start that is. I'm back to Sunday. Our weekly Youth Academy Challenge series with Burnley from FM20. We're about to start season 2 today, so the first half of the episode will probably be dominated by the transfer window as we're trying to shift towards a fully homegrown squad. We've got a lot of players leaving the club. I think only 3 non-homegrown players remain, 2 of which we've tried to sell. And we're in a pretty good position, but we've had to make some bizarre signings and we've had to make some future-proof signings. And we've also got some worries about Europe, which you might even be able to notice already. But firstly, before we get into all of that, thank you to everyone who's come along this morning already. If you are new along, please do put a thumbs up on the video. If you're a regular, please do come and get involved down in the chat as always. And hopefully we'll be able to have an uninterrupted, pretty good stream. There is a bit of a grass cutting competition going on down the road, so apologies if you can hear any background noise, because it seems like everyone is cutting the grass at the same time. But we're getting on alright, we are flying along. I hope you are all well, I hope you're getting along okay and you've had a good week. And today, of course, we'll talk all things football. We'll probably talk cricket, food and everything else again as well, as we seem to most weeks. The only other news to give you very quickly is it does look like YouTube Studios had a bit of an update to live streams in the last week. So apologies if there's any technical glitches, let me know if they occur and we'll try and find a way around them. But it's all about Burnley today. So good morning, thank you for coming along and I hope you're strapped in for a transfer special, some bizarre signings that I'm sure will get criticism and a big season coming up. Let's get going, shall we? Please do come and get involved in the chat as always. Come and say hello. We've got a good little community. We really do have a good time most weeks. A quick thank you for last week as well. We broke the record for most live viewers at once, watch time during the live stream, and the most likes since the first episode of the series, which is absolutely incredible. So thank you all for coming along. I really do appreciate your support with it, and hopefully today is going to be a big day. So let's crack on, shall we? We'll start by having a look at Burnley's transfer window and some disappointing news from Europe. Because what I didn't do at the start of the season, or the end of last season even, was have a little look at how we're affected by Europe. So the Europa League 2, or the Europa Conference, whatever it's going to be called, I didn't really have a look to see how it was played out and why so many teams from less reputable leagues, shall we say, were winning the competition more often. And I think we've probably got our answer now. Because unfortunately, they play off all of the teams from the top nations against each other to get as few of them into the group stages as possible. So as you can see, we've managed to get Athletic Bilbao in the qualifying playoff for the group stages. Now, they are one of the few teams in this competition who are probably better than us. They've got players worth 60 and 53 million, and unfortunately, their injuries don't stretch to the actual tie. So as a result, we're a little bit short, which is unfortunate. So I've no idea if we will win that. But obviously, Bilbao are the closest to a Youth Academy challenge you can get enforced in the game because they only sign players from the Basque region. Which means they'll only really have Spaniards or Frenchmen or people who are dual nationality. However, that means our European dream might end before the end of August. And that means that all of the additions to the squad we've made might be unnecessary. So there are some potential pitfalls to that, which we'll get to in a moment, and hopefully they won't cause us great concern. But thank you for the number of viewers creeping up, everyone that's popping along, I really do appreciate it. I hope you're having a good week, I hope you're all getting on alright, and please do come and get involved as always. We can talk all things football, cricket, food, and the rest of it as usual. Craig, the town are staying up. Yes, they are. That is the biggest news since last week's stream. The team staying up are Luton Town. Championship heroes and somehow 19th place. I mean, if anyone can explain how that happened. Bottom with, 6 or 7 games to go? 7 points adrift. We were 10 adrift at one point. And we have somehow not only stayed up, but finished in 19th place on the final day. And you've got to say, Nathan Jones has somehow done something special. Because there was a bit of criticism when he came back. Myself and Craig said that he'd probably become a hero before the crowds were back in the stadium. And he's been proven right. So, fair play to us. We got that one right. Not many others we can say that for. Do you agree with the new Europa League competition? Was the Cup Winners' Cup a better idea? I mean, I don't know. It's sort of weird because the way it's set out in Football Manager suggests that the Cup winners will still go into the Europa League, and the Europa League 2 is more for the smaller nations and for the backup teams who are sort of 7th or 8th. I guess the one thing I would say is you should have left the Europa League as it was and then made the Europa League 2 that competition for the minnow nations or the medium-sized nations, and let those guys have a real go at a European competition. Because once you involve one Italian team, one German team, one Spanish, one English, that's when you have a bit of an issue because they're more likely to win it, unless they don't take it seriously at all. So I think the competition's a great idea. The execution, perhaps not quite so much. And yes, Craig, Nathan Jones is an absolute legend. But the Europa League 2 we'll worry about later. We have got a massive lot of transfers to get through. And there's still a few potential deals going out. And there's still a few little worries that we've got to deal with. So thank you for everyone who's still creeping in. A number of views creeping up this morning. I know Tuesday morning's not ideal. We say it every week. But I am still blown away by your support. So thank you so much for all coming along. I hope you're looking forward to the stream. And I hope you're prepared for a lot of transfer work. As you can see, lots of signings, no massive ones. And the reason for that, don't forget, is we're only signing players who can become homegrown at the club, so 18 or under, or players who are already qualified as homegrown at the club, which probably the bottom half of that transfer list is what we're doing. We're signing backup players who have come through at Burnley, who can cut it as backups at Championship Premier League level. In terms of the outs, it's just a list of players who aren't homegrown at the club. And we've raked in nearly 40 million, which is no mean feat at all. It's absolutely brilliant. Charlie, thoughts on Forest missing out on the playoffs? I mean, as I said to you guys in the prediction show, I'm really frustrated because I said they'd get a scare and I didn't follow through with it. And I should have, because, let's be honest, Forest's... It was a bit strange. They got into a bit of a scare and instead of relishing it or fighting harder, they just sort of collapsed. And obviously, once Swansea smelt the opportunity, they were free-flowing, they were excellent, and they did the same against Brentford at the weekend. Although that was one of the worst red card decisions I've ever seen. So, you've got to say fair play to Swansea. They've taken the opportunity. But for Forest, I don't know what effect that's going to have long-term. Thoughts on the first M1 derby in 14 years? For the home one, I'm really looking forward to it as long as we get to go. Hopefully, as a season ticket holder, I'll get priority. But for Luton... season ticket holders are 2/3 of the ground, so I don't quite know how it'll work there. But as one who's had it the season before, I'm hoping that I'll be one of those who gets a priority. I think it's my 3rd year in succession, so fingers crossed. It's just a bit of a strange situation. The away game at Watford, I'm probably not looking forward to. I hate the unnecessary aggravation at the games because there's just people who are out for a fight, the same as QPR last year, and it's really not my cup of tea. But the actual game itself, I'll be really looking forward to. After it, I'll probably find a hotel as close to the ground as possible to go and hide in after. I'm not one for confrontation. Right then, let's go through these transfers and we'll start with the outs. Jamie Higgins is the first one. He's gone to Rotherham for 1.3 million. He was out on loan last year and probably the same this time, to be fair. He would have gone out on loan again. We've managed to get a bit of money in for him. He struggled after a big injury a couple of years back when we were managing him in the head coach. And he's never really recovered. So Jamie Higgins is on his way. The second one out is where we start getting towards the first teamers a bit more. Tom Ritchie perhaps not so much. He's a backup goalkeeper. And we already had 2 other very good ones at the club. We've replaced him as third choice with a returning face. So those who are following with Burnley in the head coach will probably know a lot of the names coming in. And for those of you who are following Gladbach with the head coach, will recognise one name on the list as well. But the first of the proper first 11 teamers to go is Ferran Torres to West Brom. Nearly £12 million for a 30-year-old is brilliant. He struggled with injury towards the end of last year, but he contributed massively to Burnley Football Club. 11 goals in that first Premier League season, 27 appearances the second year, a rating above a 7 both seasons. Back down to the Championship though, and 12 million in the kitty. Really not bad at all. For the player, I'd argue that's a pretty good deal, to be fair. If we move on to the next one, it's Ian Wardley, who's just been displaced by Ruthven in January. And now we've got a second one that you'll probably recognise as well. He's gone to Norwich for just under 10 million. 25 years of age, a decent fullback. Can play either side, but to be honest, probably not top Premier League level. And he's gone to Norwich again, who I think, yes, they're Championship. So he's going to be playing in a Championship as well as Torres, which probably shows how much we've overachieved last year. Next is Aussie Robinson, 8.5 million to Sevilla. Probably more than we signed him for, though he is worth more now. We signed him for 5.5. But at 26 years of age, he was probably the perennial disappointment. Never really played that well for us. Had the odd good goal or the odd moment, but generally wasn't great. And in the end, we're not that disappointed to see him move on. We've got plenty of young players coming in midfield. And I think Robinson was a natural casualty. So we're not quite happy with the fee we got. But based on his form the last couple of years, I can understand that, to be brutally honest. 2 more to go. Rod Coleman, who was out on loan the second half of last year, to Barnsley, an FM19 head coach hero. He's now gone to Fulham, who again are championship level. And to get 5 million for him at 24 is a decent deal. I think we had a 10 or 20% sell on as well. A decent centre-half, but would never be more than a backup. So it does leave 3 players who aren't homegrown in the squad. 2 of them we did try to get rid of quite desperately. And the last one we did get rid of was Dimitris Pitharoulis, I believe that is. 25 years of age now. He's been in the under-23 for eons and never really broken through. So we have to let him go. It's not a great loss and it's not a great deal. But for backup players like that, every little bit of money helps. We've got another couple of messages there, so bear with me while I catch up. Max Aarons to Bayern Munich. Brilliant deal. I really love, this is the one thing, and I'll go on a quick rant here about the English game, that I love about the Bundesliga, is English players are having to go to the Bundesliga to get a chance rather than in the Premier League. And I appreciate people will probably throw like the Chelsea example at me, but if they didn't have a transfer ban like this year, half of those players wouldn't have played and we wouldn't know them still. People like Tammy Abraham are going to be backups next year. I know Olivier Giroud took past him the last few weeks, but Timo Werner's not going to come in for 50 million and be a backup. So that's where my sort of issue comes. There's clubs that are giving great opportunities and there's still a few stars shining through. But lower down the league, where you probably need it most, there aren't players getting the opportunity. Dwight McNeil at Burnley is one great example. There's a couple of others as well. So West Ham had a fullback the last couple of weeks of the season who did really well when he came in. But I find it sad that the Bundesliga gives opportunities to 17, 18, 19-year-old English players, players from abroad, but the Premier League not so much. Max Aarons was in the team because of the way Norwich build. They didn't afford to sign players they didn't want to, but he's too good for the Championship, so I'm kind of hoping that he'll have a good spell at Bayern Munich. Keegan, new face, welcome along. Thanks for coming in and saying hello this morning, sorry. It's really good to see new people along. Thank you to everyone who's creeping in this morning. If you haven't yet, please do put a thumbs up on it. Good to see so many of you along, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you for coming and joining me live this morning. I'll try and keep up with the chat as we go along. We'll try and be as active as possible. But with the big transfer special and the signings coming in to look at now, we've probably got about 10 minutes of looking at new faces. So let's go through them all, and then we'll get into that first game of the season, ironically against Watford, who I'm sure will be subject of discussion today. But let's move on to the ins. The first one is a free agent deal. Jeremy Dixon from Chelsea, released on a free, not a good personality, but a bit of potential. There's a little something in him. He's only 18, so he will become homegrown at the club, but we just need to get him in a mentoring group this year, and hopefully, just hopefully, there's something in him. We'll wait and see if we can get that. He's versatile as well, so he could be a useful player long term. Second was a pre-agreed deal. Chaka Chahed, I think that is, from CS Fax for 625,000. He's an 18-year-old right winger from Tunisia, likes to cut in on his left, a bit like Leon Lowry did with success, and he just looks a really good player. 2.5-star ability, 4-star potential. He'll get a chance as we go along. He's a perfectionist. He likes to get forwards, so we'll try and work on him. He's got first team experience at 18, which is incredible. And hopefully we'll get something special out of him as we go along. We've had to give him $8,000 a week, something I forgot to do later down the line. But that's going to make sure we've got a really good player on our hands this season. And then we go on to probably the most familiar face of the lot. Those of you who have been following the 2 years at Gladbach in the head coach before we moved on last summer will know this guy very well. Marcus Vimer, who was signed by the director of football at the time as our left back option, has joined from RB Leipzig for £13 million. 18 years of age, will become homegrown at the club. He's a wonderkid, he's determined. I mean, he's got all of the stats mentally at this age. He's so versatile. He's got brilliant attributes across the board, already playing for Germany's youth teams. And the only fight is going to be who is first choice out of him and Ruffin. And if that means Vimer has to change positions, maybe play on the left side of midfield, then so be it, because he is a brilliant player. And I'm really looking forward to having him here. Already played a few games for Leipzig already, and we know just how good he can be from the alternate universe. So I'm kind of hoping that he'll succeed here as well. Craig, who will win the charity golf match between your two podcast co-hosts? I probably don't know enough about your two's golfing skills. I would hedge my bets probably on you, Craig, because you're more competitive than anyone else I know. So I would imagine that you'll pull something out the bag late on. But that relies on you not pulling your back halfway through the round. But then what's the chance of Charlie's ankle lasting? One of the two, eh? So probably whoever can go 9 or 18 holes without getting injured would be my answer. Which probably means neither of you. 2 DNFs if I most likely finish. Thank you to everyone who's creeping along. Good to see the viewers coming up. Thank you for joining me this morning. If you haven't yet, please chuck a thumbs up on it. It does make such a difference. As we're going through our summer transfers with Burnley, don't forget a Youth Academy challenge. So scouted players, homegrown at the club, they've got to be either homegrown and have left, or 18 or under so they can become homegrown. And on that subject, we move on to some of the star 18-year-olds. The first of those is the record signing this summer, Pero Mataj. 19.75 million from Dinamo Zagreb. He's a central midfielder, a deep line playmaker, can play box to box. He's a wonderkid, 3.5 ability, 4.5 potential, already starring for Croatia. And my word, I mean, what a player. What a player he's going to be. We haven't been able to get rid of Vinicius, so it's sort of 3 players into 2 positions at the moment. But this man is certainly going to be one of them, and what a superstar he is. I'm really pleased to have him at the club, and I think he's going to be a wonderful player going forward. So that's the first one that I'm very, very excited about. And the other central midfielder I'm very excited about is the next man. For just slightly less, 15.25 million from Sparta Prague is Mataj Bartle. And I'd argue he might be even better. 3.5 ability, 5-star potential, already playing for the Czech Republic, joined before the 10th of July, so will become homegrown at the club. 18 for passing, 17 technique. I mean, he's got it all. He can play Mazzala, he can play playmaker. Prefers to play on the right, which suits us with Xavier and the other guy who preferred to play on the left. And I feel like he's going to be a star as well. So I think initially he will come into the first 11 and Matas will probably be the European star if we can get to the group stages. Tom, morning. Thanks for popping along again. Good to see you here. Do appreciate you joining us this morning. As we move on to our next summer signing, which is a man from Arsenal, which Tom will appreciate. An 18-year-old Liam Garner. For some reason, as we were looking for a backup right back when Darnell Furlong retired, we needed someone who was going to become homegrown because we didn't really have a great young right back in the squad, bar Callum Bonner, who's starting. Liam Garner was transfer listed at Arsenal. At 18, he's got 2-star ability, 4.5 potential. So I'm not quite sure why he wasn't involved more often there, and I certainly don't know why he was on the transfer list. He's already had first team football at Kilmarnock, he's brilliant defensively, and he's quite versatile as well. So if we can get into the European group stages, again, he's someone who should get 6 games under his belt and do really well for us. And if we can get past Bilbao, don't forget that competition will be a really good opportunity for us. It's just a shame the way the competition's laid out, our hardest game is first, because I'll certainly be taking Europe seriously. Next along the list, though, is the final one of the sort of new young signings. And this is the man I forgot to give the £8 a week to, so he can't feature in the Premier League for now. From Porto's second team for 5.25 million, Diogo Frutoso. And he's an 18-year-old Portuguese centre-half, replacing the likes of Coleman who have left. His 4th choice for now, 2-star ability, 4.5 potential. Just looks really solid defensively. There was one guy I was trying to sign from PSG, but they wanted like 70 million for him. And I'm afraid Burnley can't afford that. So this is the sort of backup guy we've gone for. When we do sell Flauhout next summer, we had a deal for him for 30 million, but no one would pay the asking price. And he rejected the one deal he was offered. So we've got this guy as our 4th choice for now. Likes to play out from the back. That's something we want to work on going forward. And hopefully next summer, he'll be ready to step up a position. And then we finish with 5 sort of mini signings. And you can see they're from either smaller clubs or they're familiar names from our head coach stint with Burnley. And that is very simply because we've gone for people who are homegrown at the club. So we set a scout report. Can you find us the best players who are homegrown at the club? So we don't have to worry about what age they are. We just needed backups. At the time, we hadn't read the Europa League 2 rules. We thought, let's get some squad players for that. The Carabao Cup. Positions we don't have backups, such as at the time right wing, goalkeeper, we needed a third. We needed a third striker as well because we thought Sunday Balogun might be going. Again, no move materialised. And these are the 5 we've come up with. So Ross Marsh, who featured in a bidding war in the head coach a few years back. 2-star ability, 3-star potential. Average personality, fairly versatile though. Very good physically, which is crucial. And average elsewhere. So as a backup player, we've signed him on as an emergency backup. So on the bench in the Cups in Europe, just gives us an option to cover 3 or 4 positions if we need half an hour from someone. So that's the sort of player I was looking for. Really, money's not an object as long as it's not ridiculous, because we're not going to be signing big players. And we're going to be selling probably our 3 biggest in the January or next summer. Second on the list was Johnny Davis. He's 24 years of age, homegrown at the club. Left very early on after 5 years here. He's a right winger or striker. So covers third choice striker, covers third choice right winger. Electric, quick, good in a dribble. Again, on the bench in Europe. What a versatile player to have off both wings or up front. I really like that as a signing. Good personality, impact sub if needed. Lots of good traits that I like as well. Moves into channels, runs down the wing and places shots. Don't mind a player who tries tricks either. But I feel like he could improve a bit. Again, 2-star ability, 3-star potential. So potentially something in the tank. Who do I want to win the playoffs? I'm cheering for Fulham. So to be honest, Keegan, I would have liked pre-season it to be Brentford because I predicted them in our podcast to be promoted via the playoffs. Once I saw their final game of the season against Barnsley, I sort of said there's no chance of them winning it. And I thought it would be an all Welsh final. But Fulham away at Cardiff yesterday were brilliant. I mean, I've watched the extended highlights. They look fantastic. So I think it's going to be a Fulham-Swansea final. I can't see Brentford coming back. The pressure of the final game at Griffin Park, so they thought last time, got to them. And I think the same will probably happen again. Brentford have really struggled when they've had pressure on them. Although they were victims of one of the worst red card decisions you've ever seen on Sunday night. So I think it will be a Swansea-Fulham final. And to be honest, from a selfish point of view, I'd like Fulham to go up. So they're more local to me, and I've already done them in trying to do the 92 club, and I haven't done Swansea. So with Luton staying in the Championship, next season is a chance for me to go to Swansea, hopefully, permitting that we can go back to games as normal later in the season. So for that reason and that reason only, I'd like Swansea to stay down, just so I can go to their ground next year. Probably not the right reasons, but there you go. And I think Swansea, to be fair, they've got firepower in Ayew and Brewster. Brewster, if they go up, he'll probably stay next year. I think Klopp would let him stay there. But if they stay down, it's probably their best chance gone because Liverpool will then keep him in the squad. Who do you want to win the playoffs though? That's the question for me. Tom, Brentford, something a bit different. Yeah, so pre-season I would have said Brentford. And for most of the season, they were by far the best team out of the 4. So I'd like Brentford to go up still if I had to rule heart over head. But I don't think it will happen, to be honest. Charlie, how long did it take you to prep these episodes? So normally for the live stream episodes, when we're in the season, doesn't really take any time at all. I just played a few days between the 2 fixtures, the one we finish on and the one we'll start on. This one took hours because obviously we had to play through the whole summer transfer window. So basically the whole of Saturday while I was watching football, cricket or whatever else and recording other episodes, I was just playing through the transfer window at the same time. So that one's been a bit of a challenge and I might do it as a live stream next time to make it easier. But aside from that, the preparation for each of these episodes is minimal during the season. And it's actually far easier than between episodes for the videos. Because there you're playing 7-8 games off camera. So that's sometimes a bit of a rush. But for this, apart from the summer transfer windows, I find it really easy, to be brutally honest. Thank you for everyone who's watching along, still getting involved. Great to have you all here this morning. Please chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. I hope you're all enjoying your summer, as we've got 3 more transfers to get through. And the third from last one is probably the name that's most surprising. Tim Preaker rejoins the club from Bursaspor for $9.5 million. Now, when we joined here, 4 years ago in the head coach, he was our first choice striker ahead of Sunday Balogun. We very quickly changed that, but now we needed a backup or third choice. By the way, a bit like Trevor O'Callaghan before, I think the star rating's generous. He's not 3-star in my book. He's not better than Leon Lowry, who's got the same star rating. So he's going to be our third choice striker. It will allow us to loan out Andy May. But at 28, he's a good age. He's an impact sub. And again, he can play off both wings. So in Europe, off the bench, I see him as an option. He's homegrown at the club, so we don't have to worry about that. And he's just a solid pro, which is what we're looking for, really. Excuse me, he's quite versatile in the roles he can play up front too. So a good signing, a relatively modest wage, and I just thought there's nothing to really lose there. And the same goes for the next guy, Jordan Wood, on a free agent deal. 25 years of age, central midfielder, right winger, attacking midfielder, striker. By the way, he's not a very good striker. He's professional, physically he's got good fitness, but otherwise no standout, and technically he's not great. But mentally, he's probably a Premier League footballer. Again, he's got good traits, he's homegrown at the club, he's happy to sign as an emergency backup on £9 a week. If he can get to that 2.5 star potential, then perhaps in Europe he could be a bit of a threat. But again, as an emergency squad player, that's the sort of man we want. And these guys can take it in turns to play for the 23s and feature for that side. And just keep themselves fit, keep us ticking over. And it's important with an injury crisis that we've got good squad players. So that's what we're looking at. We've got Kieran Slicker last. He's the new third choice keeper. Returning after a couple of years away. We sold him in the head coach. And he's now back to play as our third choice keeper. So behind Summerskill and Grondona, 2-star ability, 2-star potential. Replaces Tom Ritchie and will just do a job if we need him. Emergency backup, again, on the bench for Europa League 2 ties, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. And we can try and get him some football later on. That is the route we're going for. Let me just keep up with the messages before we head into the first game of the season. You can let me know what you think of the transfer business. Why did you put your thumbs up when I was talking about Wigan's relegation? Because you caught me out in a... So Craig's talking about the podcast playoff predictions. And he was veering away from what I was expecting him to say. So he made me look like a bit of an idiot. And he's now using it as a gift for absolutely everything that we do. So thank you for that, Craig. I'm actually very annoyed Wigan went down. I would really wanted them to stay up. Because the fans don't deserve what's happened there. Clubs are all launching their new kits at the moment. Do you think it's right that clubs bring out a new kit every year? No. But unfortunately, that's the way football's going to be. And this year, there won't be many teams who don't make a new kit. Because quite frankly, most teams below the Premier League will need it to stay in business. And Luton's away kit, obviously they've changed kit supplier. But Luton's away kit is absolutely pucker. And I know Charlie doesn't agree with that. But I have already pre-ordered it and look forward to it greatly. But if your team's got a new kit and you like it or hate it, let me know why. I think Charlie's a bit upset because they've got Umbro like us. But for Luton, if they're paying more money, we need that because we don't take gambling sponsors. We don't do all of those things that bring in the money to football. So it's important for us. We're restricted by our ground. We're trying to build the new stadium. We've got to look after ourselves in that sense. But we've gone through all the transfers now. So I think it's time we get into the first game of the season. And on paper, our first 2 games are quite friendly. The game in between the Bilbao tie, where I'm going to have to rest players, is a bit of a concern. But generally, our first 2 months of the season isn't bad. However, that spell over Christmas, I mean, whatever episode that is, Chelsea, Liverpool twice, and Manchester City, that's going to be a bit of a tough one. We've got a slight spell there, City and Leicester, sorry. And then we've got Everton and Arsenal in succession. But otherwise, we'll keep positive. We've had a good pre-season. We've played a few lower teams and got good results. We've beaten the likes of Besiktas heavily, Fleetwood in a friendly. We've done all right. But Watford at home is where it all counts for us. If we have a look at where they were in previous years, 15th and 13th. So if we want to be similar to last year, we need to win games like this. But of course, we have got a bit of a depleted squad, which we'll run through now. Scott Parker, the current Fulham manager, has made the move to Watford. That's certainly an interesting one. And this is the 11 we've gone for this season. So as confirmation, the only 3 players in the squad who aren't or won't become homegrown at the club, who won't meet the quota long term, are Sunday Balogun, Vinicius Xavier and Flauhaut. So Flauhaut has had offers, but none of them were big enough. And we've still got to get good value for money. We've got Simpson and Fabio, who will be okay, so we can sell him if we need to. In midfield, Vinicius Xavier and Balogun, we've actively tried to sell. We couldn't get an offer for Balogun above 25 million, and I'm not having that. So my plan is the first half of the season, we're going to play him in the Premier League if we get through in Europe, get a big offer for him, let him go, and then Lowry becomes first choice. And Vinicius Xavier, he was unhappy that we were touting him services to clubs. So we'll wait until we get a natural offer for him, I think. But one more season at most, and I'm sure it'll be helpful. But otherwise, we've made some tough decisions, We've got the two goalkeepers. Grondona now better rated, on star rating than Summerskill. But Summerskill is a true homegrown. He came through the academy. So we're going to stick with him. There's only half a star in it, and we'll keep him as first choice. At left back is Ruthven or Vimer. So we'll start with Ruthven in the league, Vimer in Europe, and we'll rotate that as we need to. I'll come back to your message in a minute, Craig. Bear with me a second. In midfield, we've gone for Harrott ahead of Phil Richards. And in central midfield, Bartle ahead of Matas for now, but we'll rotate the three as the season goes on. Vaughan's moved over to the right, where he's the most natural option now. Obviously, Torres left, Higgins left, only leaves Vaughan from last season. Though it could be Lowry out there later. We'll wait and see. And then up front, Balogun ahead of Lowry for the reasons we explained a moment ago. So that's our 11 for today, and probably our 11 for the Premier League as it stands. Summerskill in goal, Bonner and Ruffin the fullbacks, Flauhaut, Simpson centre-half, Vaughan, Bartle, Xavier, Edmonds the midfield four, and Harrott behind Balogun up front. 8 of that 11 is or will become homegrown. All of the bench will be, and everyone below it will be too. Just the 3 players left to move on, and one of them might happen this month. Benfica, Real Madrid and Schalke. Shows how much of a miss he'll be, but rules are rules, we've got to follow them. Into the game we go, first of the season, we stick to our mentality, and fingers crossed it's a positive outcome for us. While we're doing that, let's go and have a look at the messages as we're going absolutely mad now. So thank you so much for everyone coming along. Thank you for getting involved in the chat. I really do appreciate it. Charlie, West Ham's new kit is poor because it has a gambling sponsor and looks literally identical to the one we had 4 years ago. So I did see actually that that message when they released the kit, and there were lots of fans who put the two next to each other and they didn't look very different. I guess, and this is a personal opinion with Umbro. Keegan, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming back. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. I do appreciate it. And on a Tuesday morning when it's not ideal, thank you so much. But Charlie, yeah, I know with the Umbro kits, and it's something I'll say for the Luton kit as well, and others that they've sponsored, including England as well. I don't actually think their home kits are that great. I think they do a much better job of away kits where they can be a bit less traditional. But their traditional kits probably always look a bit like training shirts for me. And I know you don't like the collars, but that's just a personal preference, that one. But yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from with the Umbro home kits. So the lads are listening keenly. They're not particularly excited, which is a bit of a worry. But this is a game we've got to win, particularly for me as a Luton fan. Craig, who is your go-to player on FM that's a regen? I mean, up till about a year ago, and before this turned into a Youth Academy challenge, I would have said him, Sunday Balogun, because he was a superstar. And maybe now it's his replacement, Leon Lowry, I don't know. I'm just trying to think from Dorkin. We've got a couple of really good players there. And without giving any spoilers away, in Friday's transfer special this week with Dorkin, which I've already recorded, I've signed a player who I think will become that man, but I don't want to give any news away on that one yet. So I think probably for me, it has to be Balogun or Lowry up front for here. We've had some stars at Gladbach. We've got a couple of great ones at Chelsea now. And we've had some good players along the way. But I think some of the best ones, so Ben Close, Ollie Selnays at the two clubs in the head coach, they weren't regens either. So I'd probably have to go for the two here at Burnley. Because that's the reason I carried on with a different save with this club. Because I enjoyed the players so much. As we're under a bit of pressure here, but Ruffin brings it away. What the left back was doing on the attack after a defensive set piece, I don't know. But Flauhaut plays out to Bartle on his debut. And this is going to be the other problem this year. A lot of players to gel. Not many in this lineup though. As Vaughan crosses, headed away, but straight back to him. Into Balogun. Shot blocked. Vaughan again. Into the front side netting. But I think in this 11, Bartle is the only debut. On the bench there might be a few. Matas and Vimer. But most of them are just squad players. So for now, actually, it's not a great turnover. Charlie, what's the best regen name you've ever seen in FM? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that I can do that justice with a quick answer. Oh, that's a brilliant question. I really don't know, actually. Let's tell the lads to do it for the fans, because the first half, we dominated, but it wasn't ideal, if we're being honest. So we might have to make some changes later on. Balogun again looking nervy, but he has played quite well. I don't know, I might have to come back to you next week on that and go through the save archive, see if I can find one. there have been some good names, but off the top of my head, can't think of one, sorry. So I will come back to you with that one eventually. It's time to make some substitutions. We've got a quarter of the game left, and it's been a bit quiet in terms of chances this half. So what can we do moving forward? I'm tempted to put the left back up to a support duty, which we will do. Where do we go here? Harrott's had a poor game. Who's the best number 10? I think Matas. I don't think he's a natural number 10. I think he's a defensive player more. So we're going to bring on Phil Richards for him. Balogun will be replaced by Leon Lowry because he always seems to score goals. And on the left wing, Dwight McNeil. Let's get the tried and trusted legend on. And with half an hour or just under to go, we will try and chase this game. We're going to demand more from the boys because most of them not really reacting. We might go attacking now as well. Can we push people further forward? What else can we do? Distribute to fullbacks too. Run at defence, be more expressive. Fingers crossed. 15 to go. We need a winner here. A slow start to the season is not ideal, particularly given a European campaign coming up, potentially. But we have got a throw now with Bonner. This would be a great time to nick it. Richards crosses. Lowry tries to get there, but the goalkeeper flies out. Falls for Bartle. Out to Richards. Into the box, and it's cleared away. But it's one back for Callum Bonner. Overlapping on the right. Chance to cross. He delayed it. Why did he delay it so long? Davis clears down the left for Watford, and now they're on the counter. And from throwing men forward, we could throw this away. How's through ball? Oh dear. Mulatieri, that's a brilliant save. Ryan Summerskill, for whatever you say about his rating and maybe it being better to bring in Grondona, Ryan Summerskill always delivers. And I'm sure he'll drop a clanger now after that. The corner's headed away. It's back into the box though. And Ryan Summerskill to the rescue again. These are worrying moments. Really worrying. The stats actually getting better for Watford since we've gone more attacking. Simpson heads away, but again it's a Watford man there first. And it's out to Howes, who's been a constant thorn in our side here. Howes crosses again, headed in, Bonner gets there and hoofs downfield. Leon Lowry will chase but doesn't get there. I'm going to drop to positive because we're actually getting outplayed at the moment. And 3 minutes of stoppage time, it's going to be a 0-0 draw. Oh, that's really disappointing. I mean, it's not the most exciting start to the season and defensively we were solid. But anyone who's got dreams of a second European campaign in a row, they might just be waning there. And we've lost a lot of experience in this squad. And that's something that may be crucial. So we'll talk to the boys. We'll see what they say. Honours even. Bartle makes his debut. Balogun's in a goal drought, which doesn't really help. And we'll just give the second answer there. But that is not the ideal start to the season, to be brutally honest. So, yeah, not the best start to the season, I'm afraid. We're going to have to get through against Bilbao. I don't care how we do it, how defensively solid we have to be, how much time wasting we have to produce. As long as we get through, that's going to be crucial. Thank you to everyone who's still creeping along and joining in the live stream. I do appreciate your support with it. Please chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Come and get involved down in the chat. As we try to improve on that pretty average start, to be brutally honest. The good thing with being in Europe is games come thick and fast, but Bristol City away is another one of those where we really need a result. So I don't know if that's something that will hinder us this year perhaps, because we're going to have to rotate a bit. I wouldn't normally have to rest players for Man United in the league and we might nick a surprise point. But this season, if we're resting players for Bilbao, I doubt that will be the case. This will be a slightly shorter live stream than normal this morning. We've got a few podcast episodes to record. I've got a bit of a headache if I'm being brutally honest. And I've got to get the transfer specials recorded with Dawkins. So we'll probably leave it at an hour and a half tops. I know with the transfer special it's sort of half an hour of info. So a lot of people like to come back and watch it after. So I will leave that as well. But we'll certainly get through a few games. I want to definitely get to at least... We might leave it on a cliffhanger if we get to the second leg of Bilbao. So we'll definitely play Bristol City, Bilbao away, and then... Who's the third one? Manchester United. And hopefully it'll be all to play for at the start of the next episode. But the Europa League 2, we're still in a qualifying. I mean, we could have drawn any of these ties. If we'd had the winner of Bannica Strava v Kairat, if we'd have had the winner of Lecce v Midtjylland, it'd have given us a better chance. The winner of, well, who knows? I mean, there's so many there. And Vaduz Liechtenstein side, a club we thought about doing a challenge with in the future. It would have been nice, but it's not to be. We've got a big episode coming up in the head coach later, 4:30 today, and our end of season review with Dorking tomorrow. And I want to give you a heads up for a week on Sunday. We've got the start of a brand new FM20 series with Macclesfield. It's only a short-term one, probably a season or two, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's replacing the cricket series, 2 episodes a week, so I'm really hoping you'll enjoy that one. The weekend days, sort of a 1 o'clock lunchtime affair. We'll have Macclesfield 2 days a week, both weekends, hopefully, to tick you over while there's no Premier League or Championship football. So we're just getting through. We're almost at the Bristol City game now, and hopefully it will be a big occasion for us. I really do appreciate you all coming along this morning. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I hope if you're new along, please do subscribe. Come and get involved in the chat. And check out the other content on the channel, of course. This is only our 11th ever live stream. We're much more proficient in videos. I think it was pointed out yesterday I made an editing error, late in the Dorking episode, which I do throw in from time to time. So hopefully there'll be no repeat of that. Who are the favourites to get relegated? I'm not getting drawn into that one because that will come back to bite you on the backside. But we are one day away now, and it's Bristol City away who lost their first game. So realistically, they're the sort of games we have to win. Chelsea, a side of course we're managing in an alternate universe. And Zenit Gross, the goal scorer there against West Ham. Vimer's already training the best, and we've got to select our Europa League 2 squad. So hopefully, with all the homegrown players we've got, this shouldn't be an issue. Callum Bonner's still an under 21. But lots of others are homegrown, so I'm hoping that will bode really well for us. Leon Lowry still under 21. Ashley Harrott the same. And all these homegrown players should make it easy. So Whitehouse, he's under 21. And that should be... Oh, we're 1 player short. We must have a very big squad then. That's nearly 30 players. So who do I drop out of the squad here? I'm tempted to drop Chahed out. Because to be honest, he's the one who needs the most improvement. It's a really tough choice. I mean, Andy May is another candidate. He's 4th choice striker. But in Europe, I'd like him to play. So do you know what? Chahed's coming out. He will be the last one out. He's going to be going off to play for Tunisia a few times as well, so he will be available less. And Andy May comes in. That's the final squad. 25 selected. Chahed unfortunately misses out. Hopefully he won't be too upset with us. Tom, favourite Beatles song? Music's a topic we haven't covered much, so I'll try and think of that. Oh, and Charlie, if you could play for any manager, past or present, who would it be? There are some cracking questions there. Right, favourite Beatles song. That is a good question. I would probably say Here Comes the Sun. And that's purely because it's the one I listen to the most and it just makes you smile. So that's a nice easy answer. I'd probably say that one. On the basis that I've listened to it probably more than any Beatles song, it would be rude of me to pick another answer. There are plenty to choose from, but I'd say Here Comes the Sun for me. Manager you could play under, past or present, who would it be? Oh, that's a good question. Let's get into this second game of the season and we'll try and think of an answer for that as the game's going. I'm going to replace Balogun with Lowry, or do I save him for Europe? I'll tell you what, we'll talk to Balogun, we'll warn him about his goal drought, and then we'll bring Lowry in midweek. So criticise... Oh, we can't do his form yet. Because it's first game of the season, we can't criticise his form. So as a result, same 18. They played alright. And hopefully on the road, they'll be just as solid. In my life for me, yeah, there's plenty of good ones to choose from. Charlie saw us standing there, yeah, see? There's so many to choose, but definitely Here Comes the Sun for me. Favourite manager, as we get into the first half against Bristol City. I mean, from a Luton point of view, I would have said like Nathan Jones, because he seems to have the spirit, but I have to balance that with the realism of my style of play. And if I try to play Nathan Jones' pressing style and aggressive defensive style, I'd probably be out on my feet in 10 minutes. So I'd say in terms of both suiting me and love to play for, John Still would be one from a Luton point of view. From a general point of view, I tell you the person I'd probably love to play under as a defender is Sean Dyche. I'd absolutely love that sort of system. Balls into Balogun, Harrott to Balogun, why has he missed? And why has Harrott passed it to him there? He had an open goal from 6 yards and he tried to pass. Oh, to a man in a goal drought as well. That's a strange move. But yeah, I'd probably say generally Sean Dyche. From a Luton point of view, John Still. Sean Dyche. Did I say John Dyche? Sean Dyche and John Still are my two. What about yourselves? I'm always interested to get that, because a lot of people pick the obvious, like the Guardiola or Klopp and that, but I realistically know I couldn't handle that from a physical point of view or a technical point of view. So I'd want to play for managers who I both respect and who would suit me. So I'd pick those two. Big Sam, another one probably, but the sports science side I'd probably struggle with. Once he gets the nutritionists involved, I reckon I'd get in a bit of trouble. Chapman in for Bristol City, just wide of the post. We've given the ball away defensively there. Really not the best at all. I'm going to get the distribution out to fullbacks as well. And actually earlier on, I'm going to push Ruffin forward so we can get a bit more balance to our side. Because Ruffin and Vimer, both good going forward, so it shouldn't hurt us to do that at left back. It was previously like that just because of Wardley. I'm not a massive fan, but I've been listening to him this week. Oh, you've got to go Saw Her Standing now. That's a great tune. See, I was always a fan more of the older stuff. I'd imagine from Tom's style, you'll probably like more of the slightly more modern. But I used to love the short, sort of catchy 2-3 minutes. The first 5 years of the Beatles. I mean, there's a couple of crackers in there later on as well, but... I'm Only Sleeping, that's a tune I absolutely love as well. I really like that song. There was a cover of it about 2000, I think. I'm sure it was the singer from Stereophonics and Noel Gallagher. It was a brilliant tune. Brilliant cover of a good tune. Burnley have dominated the game, but again, no cutting edge in front of goal. Leon Lowry's got the worst... Sunday Balogun has got the worst rating on the pitch. So not long before Leon Lowry will get introduced. And in fact, we're going to do it now. He's anxious, so Lowry's on. And the last thing we need is him in a goal drought too. So hopefully he can end that before the midweek Europa League 2 tie. Bartle struggling in his second game. So we will get Matas on for him. Matas will go into his preferred deep line role. Or could he go box to box? He doesn't mind playing box to box. So let's see what Xavier likes. Okay, so Matas will come on box to box midfielder. Vinicius Xavier stays where he is. Final sub. Ruffin for Vimer. I think he's better going forward. So let's give that a go. We are absolutely dominant here. It's just finding the chances. So we're going to demand more again. A lot of the lads focused. The Bristol City players nervous. But these chances are not converting to highlights. And they're not converting to goals, more worryingly. So we're going to go attacking. We've got an injury to Edmonds, which is a big problem with midweek coming up. We're going to run at the defence, be more expressive. We just need to nick one of those nasty little 1-0 wins. And it doesn't look like it's coming. Unfortunately, it's going to be another 0-0 draw. This is the worst start to the season we could have imagined. 0-0 draws. No goals from any strikers. I'll tell you what, I'd take the same result away at Bilbao. But there is a lot of food for thought here. We've not changed the tactic from where we were pretty free scoring last year. Bilic would be a good shout for Charlie, yeah. That's not a bad shout at all, because I know for you as a West Ham fan, Bilic is the man you'd want to play under. Seems to have done a very good job at West Brom, albeit very squeakily at the end. Favourite band of all time for me would be Oasis, because they're the band that got me into the style of music I like. My favourite album, controversially from them, would be Don't Believe the Truth, because although I caught up with all the older ones and the more famous ones afterwards, that's the one that got me into rock and roll music. It had Lila was a massive tune on there. Importance of Being Idle was a tune, and it wasn't an album like Morning Glory that was littered with songs that were going to be singles, but it was a really well flowing, easy listening album. And there weren't songs on there that you got bored of, really, which is always the sign of a great album. So for me, I would say definitely that album, just from what it caused for me, a personal point of view. Favourite song? Oh, that is a great question. I mean, Lila would be up there, because I think it's one of the most underrated songs from them, but that is a cracking question. There's a couple of songs from the Lars. I think we touched on them last week. They're a great little band. But it would be rude of me not to give it to an Oasis song, probably. But I'm trying to think, if I had to pick one, what would I go for? And there's a couple of songs off the new Liam Gallagher album that are up there as well. There's some cracking tunes on that. probably one of the best musical comebacks of the decade, to be fair to him. We're going to get a few of these kids in the under-23s. The Premier Division 2. So Carl Whitehouse, 90 minutes. People that won't feature in Europe this midweek. So Frutoso, Nathan Mullen, Grondona. I might start him as the goalkeeper in Europe, to be fair. Chahed, who's obviously not registered for Europe. I think we'll leave it at that for now. Oh, Andy May, he can go in there too. Sorry, I missed Andy May. I really don't know. Favourite song's a tough one. I'm trying to think. I'd probably say Live Forever if I had to pick one, because that is an absolutely massive tune, but it would be close. Where is Andy May there? I'm completely losing my focus on that. Andy May into the under-23s for this game, and hopefully they'll contribute to a good result. Tom would always pick the Smiths. Yeah, he loves them. I've never, to be honest, I could never really get into them. They've got a couple of brilliant songs, but I could never get into them properly. But it is nice after covering food, cricket, and football last week. We're now on to music as well. We're covering a bit of everything in these streams. We're just trying to get to Thursday, and we need to find goals from somewhere. I don't know where it comes from, but this is the worst possible time to be poor in front of goal. And the start to the Premier League season, given the fact it's been quite friendly, it's a concern to me that we've not got points on the board. And it worries me that we're never going to be near the top 6 or 7 this year. I didn't expect to be, in truth. But if we end up in a relegation battle, that's going to be very problematic for us. So hopefully that won't be the case. Thank you to everyone who's still creeping along. Great to have so many of you here. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Come and get involved down in the chat, whatever the topic may be. Football in general, Football Manager, cricket games, sports games, any sport itself. The West Indies test obviously going on. Hopefully won't get rained off so much. Whether it be music, whether it be food, we talk everything on here. The food channel is almost imminent now. Probably in the next month or two it will come along. A new FM series next weekend, not this week, the following one. And plenty of other stuff as well. The podcast is going nuts. Me and Charlie will be very quickly recording a Irish Cup final predictions after this. So hopefully we'll be able to get that one right. Because Charlie, to be fair to him, yesterday tweeted what the final would be before the semi started. And he was spot on. And it surprised a lot of people. 2 penalty shootouts as well, including one at 11:15 at night, which was brilliant. But we have probably got the biggest game of the season, and what will stay the biggest game of the season all year, coming up in 2 days' time. And it's in the middle of August. Athletic Bilbao away from home in the first leg of the qualifying round for the Europa League 2. And to be honest, these ties are the hardest ones. Once you get to the group stages, you're playing minnows largely. You'll be playing champions from smaller nations and things like that. So it's just the hardest tie to get through first. We've got another injury. Marcus Vimer's debut will be denied a bit longer. Debut in Europe anyway, first start. And that's going to be a bit of a concern. I just don't know. I really worry that we're not going to get through this. And then what do I do with my 30-man squad? Yes, Charlie, that prediction surprised you too, because you probably made it on heart over head. And it ended up being the right one. So Ballymena in a final obviously is a massive achievement. Probably in terms of current club size and reputation, possibly the smallest of the 4 in terms of recent history of the 4 sides that were left in the semis. Glentoran and Cliftonville could have gone either way, but you would have fancied Cliftonville probably at the start of the game. Glentoran with a few key new signings, cup tied. They're on their way back though. And next season could be a big year for them. So I appreciate you both getting me into Irish football the last couple of years. Obviously, one of the biggest benefits for us who can't afford Sky Sports is it's on free TV. BBC Northern Ireland with brilliant coverage of it. And you can watch it on iPlayer. You can watch it on BBC Northern Ireland too. And you just get the option to watch live games, which I absolutely love. And it's end-to-end stuff. What it lacks in quality, it has in tempo. It has in blood and thunder. I'd liken it to watching National League games, which I absolutely adore, so I was always going to enjoy it. Oh, we're getting an injury crisis just before the game. I would give him an injection, but it means he'll miss the second leg. And the first leg, the attacking players are less important because we can just play sort of a defensive structured style. Tom, would you ever go over to a Northern Irish game? Yeah. Northern Irish Premier League, I'd love to go and watch it. We're not going to change the squad. Your head can't come in at someone's expense. Yeah, I'd happily go over to Northern Ireland. It's only a hop on a ferry, hop on a plane for half an hour, whatever it may be. It's an easy one to get to. So once I've completed Scotland and Wales, I'd like to go to Northern Ireland and do that as well. And as Charlie continues to point out to me, there's some cracking grounds over there. And to be fair, in terms of social distancing, it might be one of the only options next year. Right, Edmonds is not fit, the left winger. Dwight McNeil in. We're going experience today. Vaughan, the right winger, is not fit. I don't know what I go for there. I think Leon Lowry comes in and we have to keep Balogun up front. I don't think we've got other options. Vinicius Xavier will drop out. Matas will come in for him. Like for like, essentially. And I would have been tempted to bring Fabio in at centre-half, but not for this tie. We'll keep the back four solid as it has worked. Vimer obviously got a knock, so we'll have to change the bench up a bit. Garner on the bench for Vimer. Marcus Vinicius on the bench. Are there only 5 subs? What on earth's that all about? 5 subs in the Europa League too. Oh, I should have done more research into this. This has ruined my squad choices. I'll bring Richards in for Harrott, sorry. Just so we've got, it's a like-for-like change at number 10. And we need to get a striker on the bench, really. Preeka could come in. So maybe he replaces Garner. 2 central midfielders, 1 winger, 1 who can play up front and a wing, and 1 who can play across the back 4. So I think apart from left back, we've got a backup in every position. Simpson can go out there if we need to. So I think that's as we were. We're going to go into it. Apparently there's a sub outside the matchday squad, but it must be an injured player. So hopefully that will allow us to get a result. Belfast is a great city. Get a passport sorted. You can get an Irish passport based on the way this is going. This is my worst fears with Bilbao. They're going to play a central possession formation, 4-3-1-2. It's almost like the goddess of all the formations in Football Manager. So we're going to encourage the lads. We're going to drop to a balanced mentality. We are going to be more disciplined. We can distribute centre-halves or full-backs. We're going to drop Bonner to a defensive duty too. And we're just going to leave the one outlier as Lowry as an inside forward on attack. That's what we're going for. The back 4 solid, a playmaker in front of them. And hopefully the shape will let us go forward. But I am fearful of this game. And Bilbao immediately have a free kick. Aymar in. Oh, free header over the bar. I forgot to switch the keepers as well in my haste. But Summerskill staying in is probably not a disaster. We just have to find a way through. And again early on, we've had more chances. But no highlights and no shots on goal. As Balogun takes the free kick. It's probably our most likely route at the moment. A set piece from a centre-half's header. Because as soon as we get forward with the attacking players, we do not look clinical at all. Balogun's in a goal drought. Lowry's starting a goal drought. And we've missed most of our star midfielders now. As the ball's out to the left-hand side, Lowry intercepts. Through to Balogun. 2 running off him. Lowry's one of them. Has to put one of these guys in. It's into Phil Richards. Richards in. Oh, he's hit the post. Phil Richards hits the post. And we just cannot score a goal for love nor money. Why on earth has our clinical edge gone? We were flying towards the end of last year. And somehow we've just stopped scoring goals. Even in pre-season, we're scoring 6 to 12 in most games. And it's all dried up. Ramos. Shots blocked. Flauhaut clears. Balogun picks it up to the right wing. Lowry should get there. He does get there. Come on, Leon Lowry. Put it in. Give us the away goal. Straight at the keeper. It's pretty tame in truth. I've got to go back and look at this quickly. If we go and have a look at pre-season, we never scored less than 3. In the first game, Balogun got a goal. In the second game, Lowry got a goal. In the third game, Lowry got a goal. In the fourth game, Balogun got a goal. In the fifth game, neither. And in the sixth game, the 12-0, Balogun got a hat-trick. So why on earth are they not scoring goals now? And if we go back to the end of last season competitively, the last game, we didn't score there. But the second from last game, Vaughan scored. The third from last game, Harrott scored. The fourth from last game, to be fair, Leon Lowry hasn't scored a while either, has he? Leon Lowry scored in the sixth from final game. So both strikers are in goal droughts, and this has never happened at the same time before. As Athletic Bilbao are coming forward, we get it away to Lowry, and we actually look the better side here, so maybe they're resting players. Come on, Balogun, end it now. In one-on-one, straight at the keeper. An in-form Sunday Balogun never misses those, and we're going to regret it in this tie. We've had so many great chances already. We should be 2 or 3 up. As we're playing out from the back again with Summerskill. To Simpson. Wide to Callum Bonner. And we're playing out really well here. I say, as we give it away in our own third. Alonso takes it, and after dominating the game, it only takes one mistake. Lowry back to Bonner. Switch of play. Again, why is he playing a switch of play there? Shorter passing normally on. Oh. First shot on target conceded, and we're behind. We've dominated the match. Why Sunday Balogun's ratings in the 7s, I don't know. He's missed a gilt-edged chance. Richards has hit the post. Lowry's missed one as well. We just can't score a goal from anywhere. From a pre-season games where we were scoring between 3 and 12. How on earth has this come about? If one of our strikers could end the goal drought state, it would be much appreciated. If Callum Bonner could stop playing across his own goal, that would be lovely. As Leon Lowry breaks free, beats 3 men. He's going alone. Oh, shot straight at the keeper. Where on earth is this coming from? Do not understand why it's suddenly happening. We've got a couple of minutes to go. And at half time we're 1-0 down. And again, the clinical edge in front of goal has ruined a brilliant performance. So I'm just going to dig my heels in now. Show something else. Get the boys fired up. And try and get a goal from somewhere. Oh, I don't know what to say. This is so annoying. Because we're playing absolutely brilliantly. I've no idea how Balogun's got that rating. As we've given it away again. And if we go 2-0 down, we're not coming back in this tie. Particularly as we can't score a goal. It's into the box. Hacked clear. To the left wing. Knocked down for McNeil. He gets it back to Ruffin and Matas. Now McNeil can break free, but he turns back. That's a lack of confidence. And again, the switch of play, we get lucky this time. Richards drops it down for Lowry. Come on, lads, just give me one goal. One of you break your goal drought. Lowry cuts in. Oh, he goes from distance, but it's over the bar. It may have deserved a goal at the end of it, but it didn't get one. And with the ratings as they are, Bonner will be replaced by Fabio. Ruffin's played poorly. Vimer would have started, but he can't come in. Bartle will be replaced by Vinicius Javier. Matas will switch to box. And we'll leave the last sub 10 more, but it will probably be Harrott for Richards. Though it is Bilbao now coming forward again. We cannot concede a second. Into the box, knocked down. Aymar hits the bar. It thundered the woodwork. Summerskill was beaten. And it's in again. Oh, Fabio missed the header and the shot just hit him. I mean, it will have hurt, but it keeps it out. Flauhaut heads away. Lowry flicks on. He's got to get there. Oh, he's brought him down. The mistakes are creeping in now. The lack of game control in Europe is really creeping in. Aymar's shot. Oh, it's headed away. Flauhaut to Lowry. Got a 2-on-2. We need some Balogun magic. Please end the goal drought. Oh, it's dirty. It's dirty. He gets the yellow card. Dirty foul. And now Bilbao have a free kick again. Aymar in. Knocked down. No one clears it. Oh, keeper's beating it. His near post. It's disallowed. Why on earth? I don't know. Offside? We'll take it. But it's really going wrong now. Balogun with a free kick though. Richards up. Keeper heads against the bar. Oh, it's offside. How many of these offside highlights are we going to see? Richards replaced by Harrott. We're going to demand more. The performance has been excellent. I mean, Bilbao are coming back into it, but it has been good. We just cannot get a goal from anywhere. It's the most frustrating thing. 3 games goalless. The tactics the same. The dominance is the same. The one-on-one chances we're creating are the same. But we're just not taking advantage. 4 minutes of stoppage time. At 1-0, we're still very much in a tie. And it'll be the perfect cliffhanger to leave it on for the start of the next episode. A Sunday Balogun getting man of the match is an insult. Missed 2 clear one-on-ones. How do we get out of this? Because no one looks like scoring a goal. 1 goal defeat. Can we finally talk to him about his form? Will someone let us? No. If it doesn't come after the next game, we won't beat Bilbao. We really won't. Because it has been a shocking start to the season for both strikers. Thank you to everyone who's coming along and watching. I know the number of views always creeps up towards 11, so thank you everyone for joining along. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Come and get involved down in the chat. Come and say hello. There's plenty of a good little community here. As we've got one more game this morning, which will be away at home to Manchester United. And we will leave it on a cliffhanger and come back for the second leg of the Bilbao tie at the start of the next episode. A reason to set your alarm clocks next Tuesday. Because that is going to be... Alarm clocks, I'm back in the 19th century, aren't I? Set the alarm on your phone. Let's put it that way. We've got TV coverage for the Bilbao tie and we have to get through. We just have to. It's going to ruin our season if not, and we'll have a lot of players going out on loan. Chelsea beat Leeds. In our alternate universe, we're in charge of them. But here, Chelsea managed elsewhere, and we're just looking for a route to score a goal. Fleetwood have offered for Whitehouse on loan. I can't actually give him out at the moment, but I will do if we don't qualify for Europe as our feeder club. So we'll leave it for now, and fingers crossed we get through. Don't forget the League 1 and League 2 window is open till the end of the month, so we're not too worried about that. We've got a pre-match press conference for United. It's our first defeat of the season, but we played really well. We hit the post, we hit the bar. We had 2 clear one-on-ones straight at the keeper. Just, if your strikers aren't... There's the one problem I will give for FM20. If your strikers are in a goal drought, the rest of your team don't score. And that's something that's been an issue for a while. Whereas normally your midfielders will bail you out or whatever. But not the case here. If your strikers don't score, you just don't score goals. In we go to the game against Manchester United. They've had a decent start to the season. They are on 4 points after 2. Let's see who they've played. Away at Tottenham a 0-0 and 3-0 win at home to Everton. So they look good. I just wanted to go back to the Premier League there. Jonathan Lecco. As someone from the podcast network save. On 86 grand a week there. We somehow managed to get him at Tranmere and he did a brilliant job for us. But unfortunately, his injury record wasn't great. In we go then. Manchester United. We need a goal. We're going to have to rotate a bit because we need people fit for Bilbao, which is the more important tie at the moment. And fingers crossed, we'll be able to get a win from somewhere. The team selection is going to be the most interesting bit. I think the same 5 can play in the under-23s, subject to today's game. But we might have to weaken our squad really heavily. We have left a few of the under-18s from last season, so they can keep in that squad. But let's look at who can and can't make it, because we need to rest as many as possible. And actually, it looks like nearly everyone will miss out. So let's just go for the 11 we can. Grondona in goal. Right back. It'll have to be Garner. It will have to be Fabio. Don't know who will be the second centre-half yet. Left back, it will have to be Ruffin, and then we'll play Vimer in midweek, because he's only got 1 day of injury left. In midfield, we will go for Vinicius Xavier. What's Bartle's fitness like? Because ideally, I'd like him to play. But the better natural fitness is Matas. Interesting indeed. Phil Richards number 10. In fact, no. Nathan Mullen number 10. Phil Richards in the middle. And then the other 2 can play on Thursday night. Harrop will play Thursday night. Or do I play Matas today and save Vinicius for Thursday night? Because he, in theory, is one of the better ones. So I think we'll do that. We will save our full first 11 for the weekend. For the midweek game against Bilbao. On the right wing, we'll come back to. The left wing will be Dwight McNeil. Although, can we bank on Edmonds being back? He is. So McNeil will start. He's tired. Oh, it doesn't look good. Regardless, McNeil starts. Vinicius on the bench. Up front, I would like to, in an ideal world, have Vaughan fit in midweek, which I don't know if he will be. Lowry starting up front and Balogun rested. So we'll start Balogun today, just on the hope we can end the goal drought. And on the right wing, we've got a choice between Chahed, the youngster, who's the prospect, but he would need to play further forward. Wood, who's come in but isn't great physically. And Davis. So I think it has to be Davis. I bet he didn't think he'd be playing a Premier League game at this point. And it's just centre-half that's the issue now. I mean, I'm tempted to play Ross Marsh, but that's pushing it a bit. So I think we probably have to go Rob Simpson. He's match fit, so what we're going to do is we're going to rest him from training for a day after this, but we will play him today. So Rob Simpson, he'll play on the right side, Fabio on the left. Vinicius can get on the bench, as can Callum Bonner, as can Bartle. Who else is fit? Harrott's not too bad. Edmonds is back from injury, but I'm going to leave it. Tim Preaker can go on the bench, and then we'll just need one defensive option, I think. So do we put Ross Marsh there potentially? I think he's probably the best option. So that is about as weak a team as we'll play in the Premier League this season, and probably more similar to the side we would play in the Europa League 2 group stages if we get there. But I'm expecting a heavy defeat today. George, good morning. Thanks for popping along. Great to see you coming in again. I've seen you in a couple of streams so far, so thank you for popping along this morning. It's really great to have you all along. Please do chuck a thumbs up on if you haven't already. I do appreciate you all joining in. And hopefully we won't get embarrassed in this one, because this is going to be a real tough tie. Paredes is a striker off the right wing. Havertz is a number 10 playing in centre midfield. Bayer's a more attacking player as well. Oh, this is going to go disastrously, isn't it? So assertively, do it for the fans. Where's that option? There we go. Right, so let's drop to balanced, because we're not going to get much out of it otherwise. Garner can be a defensive duty. I think that's about the best we can do. I don't really want to commit men forward here. So we'll play out to the centre halves or fullbacks. A bit like the Bilbao game, we'll play more disciplined. And we'll get into it like that. Anything probably 3 or less is a good result for us. But we need Sunday Balogun to win that goal drought. It is the most important thing of this game. We can lose 6-1, but if Balogun ends the goal drought, we've got a chance on Thursday. And we've got an injury after 10 minutes. A bruised ankle. You're not coming off for that. And we've got a free kick in the defensive area. It's going to be taken by Simpson. Back heel to Grondona. I hate that sort of thing. Oh, what are you doing, Fabio? Oh, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Fabio gives it away in his own penalty area. He dallies on the ball. And that's why Flauhaut's so important. Because Fabio, for as well as he's rated, makes clanger after clanger. And he's just given Manchester United the game there, because we haven't scored a goal all season. So he's certainly not going to be the one who's saving the day. As Bayer picks the ball up in his defensive area, plays it out long, and Ruthven gets there. He's got McNeil overlapping, goes into Davis on his Premier League debut. Johnny Davis, signed from the Championship just because he was homegrown at the club. 2-star ability, playing in a mid-table Championship side as a backup or rotation option, by the way. Has come in and scored our first Premier League goal of the season despite picking up a knock. That is going to be the surprise of the season. And now he's in contention to start in midweek, because anyone who can score a goal is close to the squad at the moment. Ruthven picks it up on the left to Mullen, into McNeil, back to Ruthven. And what a time to rotate the whole squad and turn up with our first goal. As Fabio dallies again, he's scaring me. He really is. Played out from the back, Grondona and Simpson exchange a 1-2. And I'd rather they didn't play around with it there now. Out to Garner. Down the line to Davis, the goal-scoring hero. Takes on his man. Played a good through ball. Balogun's in. Balogun ends his goal drought. We're ahead against Manchester United. Where on earth has this come from with our basically Championship standard team? Sunday Balogun ending the goal drought is the most crucial moment this season, because that gives us a chance on Thursday night. When Balogun ends a goal drought, he goes nuts. Davis has got a goal, and if we can hang on, a victory will boost morale as well. Grondona out to Ruthven. Plays into Matas. Wide to McNeil, and we're finding space now. Manchester United have taken us lightly, and our backup team is proving a point as Mullen gets it out to Davis. Into the box. Davis shoots into the side netting. And this is turning into our best performance of the season. What a first half that was. We're going to tell the lads we're pleased, and we just need them to do it for 45 more. Because this could be the surprise of the year. The final game of the morning, it will leave Bilbao on a cliffhanger. But with Balogun back in scoring form, that could be brilliant. As Matas finds him again, we'll wait a minute for the drink. Sunday Balogun into the box, beats 3 men alone. Might be a penalty. They wouldn't stop for anything else. He couldn't have stopped it for VAR with Balogun 1-on-1 if he wasn't given a pen. And now Balogun, after ending a goal drought, has a penalty. Can he make it 2? He does make it 2. Burnley 3, Manchester United 1. No goals all season, 2 strikers in a goal drought, and Sunday Balogun has scored a brace. If he can continue that in midweek against Bilbao at the start of the next live stream, he will be the hero for the rest of the season. Juninho picks it up on the right. Capelli. Time to come inside. United will throw men forward now. They're playing 4-4-2 still, I think. But they've got attacking formations on there. And they're going all the way back to Rue. Attacking roles, sorry. Playing out from the back. We've just kept our shape. We're being disciplined as we were before. And we forced it back to the keeper. Onyelo picks it up. Trying to find a fullback, but forced back. Brilliant play, McNeil. Long ball forward, though. And they've broken the press here. Bayer into Lucas. Simpson has to deal with it. Oh, neither of them do. The 2 goals we have conceded today, I would be upset if we conceded in Sunday League. Grondona's come in for Summerskill and proved why he's not the first choice, despite his better average rating. Fabio has come in today and proved why he's not first choice, despite a better rating than Simpson. But Balogun's nicked it. He's on a hat-trick. Oh, it's saved by the keeper. What a moment that could have been for Balogun. Ryan Summerskill will definitely be first choice in the big games after today. Simpson and Flauhaut will definitely be the centre-half partnership. But we need to hold on for this victory now. Dwight McNeil brings the ball away. And with an hour gone, it is still 3-2 to Burnley. We're going to make one change. McNeil knackered on the left. Vinicius on for him. He prefers to be an inverted winger, but we're keeping shape today. So winger on attack. Davis is knackered on the right wing. I don't know that I have a natural replacement. Might be Ross Marsh. He can't play naturally as a winger, but he's got the attributes and a pace. So I think it's going to be Ross Marsh for Johnny Davis, but we'll leave it 5 more. What a performance it's been so far. It's United coming down the left-hand side. Lucas finds Bayer. And now United will be going all out. And they've run 2 men. That is a wonderful finish. I mean, Grondona didn't move at his near post, but you can't really blame him for the finish. But I would still have put my money on Summerskill to save it. 3-3. And from no goals all season, 2 0-0 draws. This is certainly a pleasant surprise in terms of entertainment. Ross Marsh will come on the wing. And Ashley Harrott on the number 10 role, he will replace. In fact, no. We're going to bring on Bartle. He will replace Mullen. Bartle into midfield. Richards to number 10. Bartle can be a central midfielder on attack. We'll just try and push a bit further forward and see if we can nick a winner. Because Balogun's now in goal scoring form. And the real test is going to be getting him fit for midweek. United playing up from the back with Onyelo. Paredes down the right hand side. Long ball forward. And this is where it becomes troublesome. They've got men forward committed. Juninho overlapping. Into the box. Headed just over. And we're trying to hold on now for our point. It's been a good attacking performance. But United causing a threat. So let's demand more. Try and get the lads on board. Oh, it's not gone well. Simpson heads away. Matas flicks on. But it still falls for David. Out to Onyelo. Back into Ricardo. And back out to the fence. Havertz brings it forward to Sierreveld. Beats the fullback into the box. Don't concede. Simpson heads away. Havertz to Tongue. Into the box again. Simpson hacks clear. Brilliant defending. And Balogun's in. He's beaten the defender. We need a magic. We need a hat-trick. But it's straight at the goalkeeper. And Rue unfortunately saves easily. 5 minutes of stoppage time. We've played 3 of them. We've now played 5 of them. And we've held on for a draw. And we said we'd take a 6-1 defeat if Sunday Balogun broke the goal drought. Well, in fact, we've got a 3-3 draw with 2 Balogun goals. Davis is probably out, but Balogun on fire. We'll get him praised. We'll get him confident. And for Thursday night against Bilbao, that is going to be crucial. It will be a grandstand start to the next live stream. We'll get ahead to Thursday. Just see if there's any transfer action. If there's any other fitness news we've got. But as it stands, that is going to be a massive moment for us. Thank you to everyone who's joining along still. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. I really do appreciate you coming along this morning. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. A bit of a bizarre start to the season in terms of form. And we've just got to keep an eye on fitness. That's going to be the key thing for Thursday night. It's going to be a great start to the live stream next week. Atletico Bilbao for a place in the Europa League 2 group stages. And fingers crossed, now we've got goals in the team, we'll come out on top. Lionel Scaloni in charge of Bilbao. Charlie will love that. His favourite player from the FA Cup final of 2006. Just put it out for the throw will be his next comment in the chat, I'm sure. 3 days to go. Hopefully, no news on the injury front is good news. We will go back just to check that the fitness isn't disastrous. Is there anyone in the 70s? Johnny Davis and Matas. So Balogun's recovering well. Richards in the 80s. Ruthven as well. I think we'll be good to go. So we just need to avoid any midweek injuries. Hopefully Jack Vaughan will be back. He's recovering quickly. It looks good. And we'll be as close to full strength as we're able to be. So it is going to be a grandstand start next Tuesday. I hope you'll join along for it. And to be fair, next Tuesday is going to be a massive day on the channel. We'll have the last game of the season from our Chelsea head coach save after 3 more episodes this week. And as the week goes on, you'll see why it's going to be such a big finish. And we'll also have the live stream with the crucial European tie for Burnley. Sandy Balogun back in form and needs to be in the goals in that one. As it is going to be a wonderful start with our first choice team in what is the hardest tie to get into the group stages, where then, ironically, we'll be playing some minnows. Ruthven called up for Australia, no surprises there. We'll go through the pre-match press conference. Of course, if you have missed any of this stream or you're late along, which I know some are on the Tuesday morning, you'll be able to catch up afterwards. There'll be a full stream replay. Normally takes about an hour or two to process and then is live in the afternoon. But otherwise, it's all going swimmingly. Until now. Of all the players to lose, a centre-half is not one of them. I'm going to have to play him regardless. So he's going to get a 1-day rest from training and we're going to play him no matter how tight his groin is. If he gets us through and then he's out for 2 weeks afterwards, it doesn't really matter. Because Fabio can play the next league game and if we lose it, so be it. But we have to get through in Europe. And this is why injuries are so crucial. 1-day injuries can be the worst thing in the world if it's the wrong day. But fingers crossed we're not going to have any more. It's match day. No more injuries, please. It's not. We've got a 1-0 deficit to overturn. The away goal is the issue. Because we didn't score, Bilbao need 1 and then we need to get 3. So we have to make sure we don't concede. We've also got the Carabao Cup 3rd round draw. A competition we'll be chasing this year. Let's see who we get. It is Ipswich at home. A League 1 side. It's about the best we could have hoped for in truth. Particularly coming in around later this year. And hopefully... Oh, I was getting very worried there. I saw dislocated shoulder. Thankfully, it's one of the under-18s with one of the least potentials. And as we go into this fixture today, Owen Edmonds will be fully fit. Rob Simpson is fully fit, which is good. Jack Vaughan the same. The other two not recommended to play. Johnny Davis, I was tempted to get him on the bench because he did so well in that United match. And he's actually gone up to 2.5 star ability, a natural backup. But it's not to be. So this is the game we will be back for next Tuesday at the start of the stream. So please do make sure you're here as close to the start as possible, as it will be the European decider. Burnley v Atletico Bilbao. We've of course had the transfer special today, and if we do end up going out after that tie, we will be having a mass exodus of loan players from the squad, because they've been brought in the 30-man squad to cope with Europe. So if you're looking forward to that one and you enjoyed this episode today, thank you so much for coming along and getting involved. Please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. You can catch up with the full replay on the channel after this, and we'll be back with the head coach at 4:30. We've got a massive week coming from Dorking and the head coach. The head coach is a big end of season. We've got a lot of trophies to fight for. We're still fighting on 3 fronts at the moment. So come and see how we get on in them. In terms of Dorking Wanderers, we've got our end of season review tomorrow. And then a big transfer special on Friday. And the stadium review continues this weekend. Before next weekend, we start a new FM20 story. Thank you everyone for coming along this morning. Thank you for your incredible support as always. I really hope you enjoyed the stream. And I hope you're still here next week as well. Because we have got a clanger to start with. It is Burnley v Atletico Bilbao for a place in the Europa League 2 group stages. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching.